Nerd girl in action.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Hey,
Yeah, I don't know.
Ant-Man! This is the collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio. I am Shelly, better known as Michelle Turner. This is Ant-Man, the CEO of Captain Holdings.
Yes,
And we're here to
in the
talk
building.
sports on WSMEDB. SM Enlightenment Radio. Positivity is everything. Haven't been here in a minute for a lot of reasons, but we're here tonight. So we got a lot to talk about. So, and
What's going on? I don't know why my camera looked like that, but yeah, I'm here. Okay,
we
I'm
can
back.
see
I'm
you.
back.
We see you. We see you. You're back.
Okay.
So, Michigan State's coach was let go a few hours ago in regard to sexual harassment. He was the highest paid football coach and highest paid African American coach in the United States regarding football. His name is Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker had a $95 million contract over 5 years. Not only that, Mel Tucker left Colorado, where prime time is now. So supposedly, Mr. Tucker had brought in a woman who was a survivor of sexual assault to talk to his team. But he got overexcited, for lack of a better term, and started having these conversations with her that were definitely out of bounds and were sexual harassment. So he's got to give up the rest of his contract. And now Michigan State is also looking for another coach.
Yeah, that's shocking. Me personally, like, and he was worth what, 94 million?
95.
95 million. So he gave up $95 million to harass someone that already went through that type of
Harassment,
ordeal
who went
before.
through, right.
So yeah, something is not right in his mind. Something wasn't there, wasn't clicking. He was thinking with some other part. He wasn't thinking with his head. Um, and I really think that that type of money, I don't think a female would be able to interact and make me change my dynamics mindset of me getting my money. Um, but hey, some people, I guess they feel like. I mean, it's a knock on his whole career. If you really think about it, it's a wrap. He'll
Yeah.
probably never coach again. And first of all, he's African American. Hate to say it like that, but he's not going to get a second opportunity.
Well, I always think that when Black men reach a certain plateau, that there are always people looking for a chink in the armor, right? They're
Right.
always looking for a way to bring you down. So I think you should be above reproach. You have to be. If you're going to stand in those type of rooms, you have to be above board. You have to have a clean nose. You just do. Because if
Yeah, I
you
mean,
don't, there's somebody always looking for something. I mean, you think in terms of President Obama, right? How when he was first running for president, they looked for all types of things about him and they
right,
couldn't find anything except for that, he smoked weed. Well, who didn't their freshman and sophomore year of college, right?
right.
In
Yep,
that generation.
yep.
So it wasn't anything people found unusual. But at the same time, it was still something that reflected or could reflect for a lot of people on his character. And when you get in these positions, that's what it's about. It's about your character.
Yeah, and it's about second opposite. You already gonna be able to now. once that statement came out and they was able to prove it, or if they still investigate trying to prove it, he loses credibility before he's even
Right.
judged in the court of law. So he would not get a second chance in college athletics, football. He'll never be able to go to. Now, if he got good connections in the NFL, they might put him as a assistant defensive coordinator. There's so many different coaches roles that
Yeah.
he can slide in because he was a head coach. They might bring him in as a scout. I mean, it's things that he
Right.
can do, but that be hidden from the media. But at the same time, he's not going to ever get another opportunity to the point where, I mean, you look at a Rick Pitino, the stuff that he
Right.
did. He got a second opportunity. He's the head coach now, or what? What he just got hired as I have to research it, but he just got another good position. Uh, and I mean, you know, Patino, what's his name? Rick Bobby Bobby Patino. I think he was a coach. He was one of the other coaches that had some type of allegations that he was. It was proven that he had these
Hmm.
allegations, and he still got a head coaching job. So, but you also got to look at what we're looking at. We're looking at an African American coach,
Right.
Caucasian coach.
Right.
It's a big difference. So things that happen to the things that now he's guilty of that. If he's guilty of that, what he's did, the sexual harassment, if he's guilty, hey, in the court of law, he get proven in the court of law. But now, if he want to go back and try to save his career and start
Right.
back over, it's not going to happen. Same thing with these guys over here. These guys over here, the Caucasian side of the guys, they done been proven guilty and they still end up getting jobs, or they still got a
Correct.
job before they were proven guilty in the site. So it's you can't win pretty much. It's not a win. It's not a winning situation for him. So I wish him the best. God bless him. And if he want to give up $95 million for, I guess, the talk, sexual harass somebody on the phone, hey, so he might need to really go to a mental institution or something, or
Yeah, he needs,
something.
he probably will have to do something like some behavioral health counseling,
Yeah, he's got to do
something to
something.
change. Yeah, something to change his attitude, his thinking. He probably will have to go to some workshops on harassment,
Mm-hmm.
all of that, and then prove that he did it, right? Not only um, just to go, but to really walk the talk, so to speak.
Yeah,
Um, so you have to ask the question, how did he get to the million, the $95 million? So initially, Michigan State hired Tucker in February 2020. But as we know, the pandemic was really starting to kick in then.
right.
So he did not really have an opportunity to coach. Um, his first year at Michigan State was the
I think
COVID
he had a
season,
real
as
good
I
year.
just said. But according to the Detroit News, they say he righted the ship in a big way in 2021 when
Yeah,
the Spartans
2021. Yeah, they
became,
was good.
11-2, including a
Mm-hmm.
win over Michigan and a win over Pittsburgh in the Peach Bowl.
Right.
And during that time, LSU was also courting him, Louisiana State University. And in their coaching him, courting him, wanting him to come aboard to right their ship, Michigan State began to make these offers. And so that's how the money became larger and larger with his contract. And this was an extension. This was not an it wasn't an original contract. This was an extension. So they're 2-2 this season, and assistant assistant Harlan Barnett is going to be the interim coach for the rest of the year. So we really are up against something as far as character when it comes to African American coaches and their non coaches of color counterparts. A hearings scheduled for October 5th and 6th, when Tracy and Tucker will be able to question each other through their lawyers. It's not clear if the woman who he brought in, Miss Tucker, will be there to testify, but according to his attorneys, Mr. Tucker will be there. He's thinking of this as a sham. And they're saying that before the hearing, they had to cut ties because they just didn't think it was going to go well. It wasn't enough to save his job. Michigan is citing, quote, the moral turpitude clause, end quote, in Tucker's contract in his firing. His contract states he can be fired if he brings ridicule upon a university that continues to reel from the Larry Nassar scandal. Haller said in his letter to Tucker last week, the coach failed to live up to the contract clause, calling for him to behave professionally and ethically at all times. Do you remember the Larry Nassar incident?
No, I don't remember. Oh, that's the Michigan State guy, right? The
Yeah.
athletic trainer for
Right.
the gymnastics.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I definitely remember him. He's locked up for life. I think he just got stabbed up too.
Right.
Yeah, he was on the Olympics, and yeah, so he was he was doing a lot of crazy stuff.
Well, he was also along the lines of sexual harassment and sexual abuse,
right,
with the gymnastics team.
Mm-hmm.
So, now Michigan State is going through this again.
Yeah, so they have no conduct or any of that. Once they hear that, they out the building.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's one of them schools down. They don't went through it one time. They're not going to go through it twice.
They're not going to go through it again. And as old as Michigan's football team is, and as established as their program is, they don't need the blemish. They're trying to really clean up. They don't need the blemish.
Just like Penn State. If anything comes up, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, they would cut ties with that person immediately with no investigation whatsoever. They just hear word of it. They go, you got to go.
Well, the other piece,
Penn State went through the death penalty with that football program and got it back. So if for them any sports that goes on now, Penn State, which at that time I thought I didn't think the football team itself should have went through the death penalty at that time. Now, the coach, which he did, he ended up going to prison. Now, that's what. So and Joe Paterno at the time, this man was 90-some years old. I think 80-some years old at the time.
Right. When it finally came to light, yeah.
Yeah. And they figure out, he didn't really know anything about it. He didn't know what was going on. He was 80-some years old. 80-some years old. I'm not gonna say you old to the point where you don't know what's going on, but he holding on to a job. He probably not even around that much. To be real with you, in Penn State, how much you think 80-some-year-old coach is hanging around the actual football program, knowing what's going on by everyone? Like, he should have retired 10 years earlier.
Yeah, 10 years prior.
Yeah. So a lot of these guys, a lot of these coaches hold on to these jobs because they basically figureheads. They are just there for the symbol.
Because they're the like you say, the figurehead that everybody relates to in terms of the team.
Yeah, recruiting purposes. Like, Joe Paterno's still here. Oh man, legendary coach. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go play for the Penn State. I'm gonna play for Penn State because Joe Paterno there. But in reality, Joe Paterno was really not there. He really wasn't coaching. You think Joe Paterno was actually out there really coaching, like telling the players, go here, go over? No. He was a figurehead. He probably never even came on the field doing practices. Probably never went to meetings. Only thing you seen Joe Paterno was on Sunday. I mean Saturdays
when the
or
games were
Thursday
actually
nights when they had a
played.
football game. That was
Yeah.
it. So I'm 1% sure he didn't know anything that was going on with that program at that time. Now, the other coaches, he got other coaches that probably knew more about it, and they all got fired. So that's why I said for the program itself to go for a full death penalty, I didn't think that was deserved at that moment. I think they should have really investigated, really got down to the bottom. But once you hear anything about sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual harassment, it's game over. Nobody's going to even listen to that. They
Mhm.
done. They done. They getting rid of you. It's game over. They're not trying to listen. The media going to attack. The media jumping on you. It's a wrap.
Well, between the media, the women's groups, the
Yeah,
board of trustees for the university, I
gotta
mean,
go.
you're up against quite a bit.
Yeah,
It's not just the good old boys club anymore. That
and you
all
know
those
it's like,
days are over.
and you got to think in that situation, Penn State, he was messing with little young men.
Right. He was
He was
messing with
bringing young
teenage
men up to
boys.
campus. Yeah, he was
Right.
bringing young men up to campus doing that type of, doing crazy whatever they was doing at that moment. But so that was against. So first of all, you going against a lot of these other organizations that's like, okay, abuse against kids, abuse
Hmm.
against, it's a lot of abuse within like some of the other programs, and so they looking at it like, no, we're not
Yeah.
tolerating that. We're not
Yeah.
tolerating that. So you got to go,
Yeah.
and they felt like the whole program needed to go. They wanted to wipe
Yeah.
the
Need to
whole
be
Penn State program
refreshed.
out.
It needed to be refreshed because you
Yeah.
have people of a certain mindset. And
Now,
anytime you have people of a certain mindset, it tends to carry over. If
yeah,
I
that's what I'm saying.
ignore
But
it and you ignore it, and then new people come in and they may complain about it, there's two things that are going to happen. Either you are going to join in or you're going to leave and not talk about it.
yeah, but you
And
can't.
you have to sweep, you got to clean house. You got to sweep them out.
That's what I'm saying. Clean out the house, the staff, get rid of the whole staff. But
Yeah.
what they did to the Penn State program was they wiped out all the wins, all their championships. They wiped out the whole program. They did a death penalty. They call it the death penalty for a reason. They wipe out everything. They get rid of the whole program, meaning they try to get rid of the whole football program, the biggest
Hmm.
profit generating within the Penn State Pennsylvania Nifty Lions, their whole program. They were trying to get rid of that whole program. Like, yeah, hey, just get rid of the whole football team. And I felt like that shouldn't have been the case at that moment. They should have just got rid of the whole staff, brought in a whole
Hmm.
new staff, and just clean house. Got rid of the whole staff because you don't know who knew about it, who was dirty, who had their
Right.
hands in it. You had to get rid of the whole staff. You couldn't keep
Right.
Joe Paterno. No, yeah, fire him too. Get rid of him. But you can't knock his legacy. You can't take his legacy away from him. Because I mean, at that time he was the winningest coach in college football,
College football. Yeah.
and they took everything. They took all that, and then they took all his championships. And come to find out, I think they finalized and say this man he didn't know anything about it. So they actually figured, all right, well, once they did their investigation, all the
Hmm.
storm calmed down, and all these boosters and some of these people started really coming back into the program. They felt like, okay, I think we're in a good place now. Let's bring the program back. Let's bring in, I think Coach Franklin. I think it's Coach Franklin.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think they was like, let's bring in Coach Franklin, a new coach. Now he got that program moving again. Program is ranked like top 10 or top 15 in the
Yeah, and
country.
and people respect it. It's
Yeah,
been enough time past where people respect the program. I don't know if you can say if people don't have ill feelings about the program,
yeah, of course. Of
but
course.
it's back to a certain level. It's back
Yeah,
to a certain level.
yeah.
So I know we're going to talk about Dion at some point, but let's give the WNBA 5 minutes.
Okay.
Brianna, MVP, New York
Yep.
Liberty, UConn's own. And I don't hear people complaining that she got the MVP because it was well deserved. I think
Yeah, I think it's.
she's had a heck of a season,
Yeah,
but a
I
lot
think
of
Asia
people were
Wilson
rooting
should have got
for
it
her.
again.
Yeah,
I think Asia should have got it again from Vegas, but
a
this would
lot
have
of
been
people were rooting for Asia.
she would have got it for the third time because I mean, not normally in basketball, normally in football, they give it to the best player on the best team.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 out of 10 times they're gonna give it to you. If you got the number one team, I don't think Vegas lost no more than 5 games in the regular season. Maybe less
Right.
than that. Liberty good now. Don't get me wrong, they good this year.
Yeah, the
But
Liberty, the Liberty with the trades that they've made over the past season are a pretty good team.
and then you also got to give a Connecticut Sun. What's her name?
Yeah,
Uh,
they're 1-1 in the series right now. They're tied.
yeah. So, and Connecticut Sun had an MVP candidate also. So,
Yeah,
I'll have to research her name, but she's definitely was well deserved too because they wasn't expecting Connecticut Sun to do anything this year. Remember, they
right,
traded that number one player last year,
right.
so they wasn't expecting, and they end up turning around, still being one of the best teams in the WNBA this year. So I'm looking at it like, hey, I felt like Asia should have got it because she was on the best team, and she was the best defensive, and she was a scorer. So I gotta give her that. Brianna. I'm not gonna complain about Brianna because she's a UConn and
Right.
Connecticut young lady, and she did her thing. And she's with a big market team, which is New York. Vegas is a big market team too because that's where the betting capital. That's the betting capital. That's where all the money for betting sports goes through Vegas. So I don't know how they're gonna really operate. To be real with you, I don't know how they're gonna operate when they start bringing all these because they're bringing an NBA team to Vegas, and they already got the Las Vegas Raiders. They got the Las Vegas Aces. They already got the Vegas Knights. So they supposedly bringing a baseball team to Vegas.
Oh, really? I didn't know about the baseball team.
Yeah, that's another development plan. I broke the news here. This is me, ANTMAN, breaking the news. They will be bringing a Major League Baseball team to Vegas very soon, within the next 5-10 years. And they're bringing a NBA team to Vegas within the next 5 years.
So both about the same time?
Yes. They already, from what I'm hearing with some of the people that's on the ground, they are looking for land to look for stadium space and for the baseball team. But yeah, they definitely is looking to bring up a Major League Baseball team to Vegas. Big money. And maybe they'll give the pros opportunity to get into the see, and this is why I have before I'm gonna jump back to WNBA, but I also have an issue when now modern day sports are going to the gambling capital of the world, which is Las Vegas, right? Now, but players that get banned for gambling or suspended in NFL for gambling, you are pretty much giving them the opportunity to do it now because they got to come there. You got to remember, they go to Vegas. They have to go to Vegas to play the Las Vegas Raiders. If you're in couple players for the NFL got suspended this year.
Right. We got 10 seconds in. 10 seconds.
Yep.
Doc is saying we need to break, so we're going to break here.
Okay.
This is the Sports Lab on the Collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio. Doc, you should do the show more often.
Yeah, we like that. We like
I
that.
like that.
We
That
like
was that
that.
was cool with me and
That was
Ant-Man. That
cool.
was that was nice.
That was cool. I ain't see me that much. I seen me one time, but yeah.
No, there were a couple of times you were in there. You were in
Okay,
there a
okay,
couple of
all right.
times.
Well, I'm gonna take your word
Well,
for
you
it
know,
now.
we can get Doc to maybe do something strictly and solely for us.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, we like that. We like that
That
now.
was nice, right?
Yeah, that
See,
was
see
very
what
nice.
happens when you have a producer
Yes, yes.
instead of
It's a
it
whole
just
different.
being the host. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a
Doc,
whole
maybe we
different
can get
ball
you once a
game.
month.
Yes, I love it.
Get you, get you once a month. But
Yeah.
this is the collective right here on WSMEDB Enlightenment Radio, where positivity is everything. I'm Michelle Turner, better known as Shelley. Ant-Man in the Batcave in Charlotte from Captain
Yes, ma'am.
Entertainment is here with us. And
Yep.
we talk sports. And this is the Sports Lab on the
Mm-hmm.
collective. So when we broke, we were discussing, well, you were kind of sidebarring it, talking about having all the
Yeah.
athletic teams in
Yeah.
Vegas and how that could have an effect
On
on betting,
overall
overall
morale.
betting and
Yeah,
gambling.
betting morale. Because you're not looking, and then plus looking at some of the people that they banned for life for betting. Like, how can you determine or dictate these people now without giving, just like Pete Rose, for example?
Right,
Pete Rose should have
right,
been in the Hall of Fame. I hate to say it, he should have been in the Hall of Fame. He didn't do steroids. All he did was bet
right,
against himself. He bet
right.
against himself. Hey, if I was if I had that Kanye West mentality, I would have been betting against myself too. So that's
Mm.
the thing about it. You bet against yourself to make yourself better. He was betting
Yeah,
against himself to make a little extra money. Hey,
yeah.
cool. Back then, them guys were only getting paid $100,000 probably. You know, they wasn't getting the money they get now. So modern day
Mm.
sports betting in Las Vegas, when you building all these different franchises and different teams in this area, but then you still banning, especially if they bring Major League Baseball to Vegas, they have to let
Mhm.
Pete Rose. They got to let Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame.
But do
Because
you think that there won't be a caveat in the contracts, or who they're bringing in? They won't have a different type of clause because it is Vegas,
yeah, they definitely will because it's a gambling state. So
right?
Nevada is a gambling state. So anywhere it goes, they get money, and Vegas is the capital. Vegas is the main area where the money is gonna be made at. Is where the
Hmm.
bets, even the sports. But I'm saying when you condicting or making things look a certain way, you also got to look at the past. You got to say what you did in the past. Okay, we got to forgive you for that because
Yeah.
now you modernize your sports into the betting capital of the world.
Hmm.
When you put your sport, Major League Baseball, once they bring that to Vegas, which they are talking about it, if they bring that to Vegas, you got to look at what you did to Pete Rose. You banned him from gambling. You banned him from
So you're
being in the Hall of
thinking,
Fame.
so you're thinking they're going to have to let him in the Hall of
They have
Fame.
to let him in the Hall of Fame. They have no choice because you can't have a team because all his followers, all the fans, Cincinnati Reds, that follow him, all these people that follow him over the years that have been cheerleading
Hmm.
for him to get into a Hall of Fame, they're gonna be the
Right.
first ones to go up to it like, hey, how can you dictate what he did in the past, but put a Major League Baseball team in this area of gambling? And you ban this
Hmm.
man for life for gambling. But the owners of the Major League Baseball can benefit from gambling. That's what they're gonna look at. Just like NBA. You suspending these guys for gambling NFL, but the owner, one of the owners, where they do profit sharing. So the owners are benefiting from this team in Vegas. They've been from gambling. That's gambling money.
So, so what you're saying is it's going to be impossible to really keep people who are involved with those teams from gambling, or they're going to have to make a certain provision.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna be involved with gambling, but you have to look at the history. History
Mm-hmm.
that the reason that they kept gambling out of Vegas, I mean, when they kept teams out of Vegas because they wanted to keep the history of like we don't want to bring this on our players because when you
Yeah,
travel to Vegas, you're gonna gamble and you might
yeah,
gamble on a team. You might gamble bet because they do bet in sports. They bet
right,
on sports,
right.
so they,
That's
you
what
might not
that's
be able
what
to
it was
bet on
really.
yourself, but they
Yeah,
bet on sports. So you in a gambling situation, you're gonna be betting. So same thing. I look at it like, hey, you can't contradict these guys and make these guys suspend these guys for a whole year for gambling because
right.
why you got a team in Vegas if you ban in gambling? You can't ban it. You gotta make sure you do it right. You can't do it that way.
So Alyssa Thomas was the other person who was considered for MVP with the
Yep,
Connecticut Sun.
yep. And she could have been easily an MVP. Asia Wilson, I felt like was the more overall MVP. Breonna Stewart, I don't. That's why I don't have any complaints that she won it.
Yeah,
But at the same
I
time,
really think for the most part the public would have been pleased with any of the three
yeah, because they both
because they
averaged
put up
double
good
double.
numbers. They
Yeah,
put
good
up good
numbers.
numbers. They've been heck of a player in their respective roles, no
Yeah,
doubt. You know, they
one,
can
two,
put
and
the
three.
team on their back at any point, you know. Um, but I think Brianna Stewart, it's probably her time. It's
This
probably her time.
this is our second, right? Our first, second MVP.
I think it's her second, but I
Yeah, because
think
I think
she's
she
made
won
a
MVP
difference.
and Rookie of the Year at the same time.
But I think she's made a difference for the Liberty.
Yeah, she definitely.
I think she's made a big difference.
Yeah,
I think that's why I say I think this is her time, especially because she had been injured,
yep,
and she didn't play. And then she came back and, and she ended up in New York. So she went from west to east and had to get back in the swing of things. And for
yep.
her to come back into the swing of things,
I think.
play and put up the numbers that she's put up.
Yeah, I think she deserved an MVP. I'm not going. Either one could have won it, but me personally, I
I
thought,
think, I think either of the three. I think
yeah,
either of the three would have been a good choice. But when you talk about the year that Brianna Stewart has had,
yeah.
that makes the difference.
But I mean, you
The
gotta
other
look at
two,
Asia. You can't. You That's what I'm saying. Asia Wilson, number one team,
right?
Aces. She led the league in blocks. I think she led the league in rebounds, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's in top five in steals as a center, forward, whatever she is. And plus, she averages like 20 some point, 20, 25, 26 points a game. And she
Per
averages like
game.
10
Yeah.
plus rebounds a game. She averages like 2 blocks a game, 2 to 3 blocks a game. And I think she averages like a steal or two a game. So if I'm looking at the collective of stats, I would say Asia Wilson deserved to be MVP if you're looking at everything. But they
Yeah.
did give it to her last year. She was the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. So they might be the time, like you said, like Giannis in the NBA, he could have got it
Right.
4 years, 3 years in a row. But it was like, hey, it's like you said, it might be Brianna time. Like they had to give it to, they had to get that MVP out to say, hey, we got to give it to you. We got to give it to somebody else this year,
Right.
even though you deserve it. But we have to pay, we got to spread it out a little bit more. We can't give you 5 MVPs in a row.
Right.
This would have been her third MVP, I think. Asia.
Let's see. Because the Aces won the WNBA Finals in Connecticut last fall, it muted her back-to-back playoff triple doubles. This year, she averaged nearly a triple double, 15.5 points per game over the season, and added a fourth best 1.8 steals per game. The knock against her was a scoring average that ranked 22nd in the league and was
Okay.
outpaced by Stewart, who had 23 points per game, and Wilson had 22.8.
Yeah.
So,
They both good though. They both good.
yeah.
Like and
And
they're gonna be good for the next. Yeah, they young, so they gonna be good.
yeah,
They're gonna be the face of the WNBA for the. So they're gonna be probably going back and forth with MVPs for the next 5 years, at least next 5 years.
yeah.
Um,
Thomas will watch Stewart accept the MVP trophy at an expected sold out Barclays Center before the two face each other on the court, which is actually last night, I believe. Um, and Bob McCormack, who does the news for WSME, says the Liberty may be in the finals with Stewart, and the
yeah.
A's are moving to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the biggest thing for me is that I'm liking the fact that I'm seeing crowds at WNBA games finally. Because there was a time even 10 years ago where there was talk about pulling the plug on the league, that it wasn't making any money, that they didn't their player rosters were lackluster, and who wants to see girls play, which I think is the dumbest question. I'm
Right.
not the person to put that question before, because my mama's in her college's Hall of Fame for basketball, and
Mm-hmm.
she's a winning coach and has coached some folks who've gone on to win Division One. So that's a dumb question for me. That's an out of bounds question for me.
Right.
Who wants to see girls play? Why wouldn't you want to see girls play?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
mean, yeah. I mean, definitely me personally. I love. I mean, I love going to the see the women play. Uh, it's very exciting now. Um,
And I think it's, of course, and it should be a different
yeah,
game from the NBA, because they are not physically built like NBA players.
yeah, they shoot better.
They're
Me
women,
personally, like you're gonna get better shot selection when you go to
right?
a female. You're gonna see more uh, from the standpoint of like team play. You're
Hmm.
not gonna see as much an individual try to be here and there, but you're gonna see more team play. You're gonna see them shoot better because
Right.
they're gonna be shooting better overall as a team. Not saying because everybody on the NBA team, because they're all professionals, they put up like they're not gonna shoot like Steph Curry. Yeah, they're
Right.
not gonna shoot like Klay Thompson. They're not gonna shoot like over 40. You're looking at their stats of 3 points and like, okay, they're not shooting over 40%. They shooting 20 some percent, 30%. Hey, the only thing that makes the God game from what people want to see is dunks. Now you got females dunking. You got
Right.
females. You got multiple females
Right.
now that can dunk in the WNBA. So and it's gonna get more and more and more to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, very much more athletic. Um, it's a skill level is there on both sides. So I don't see any issue with why people wouldn't want to go see a WNBA. Because I mean, even the college women game always been top notch. So they
Right.
UConn women, I used to go watch the games of UConn women. Like, wow, I had to. I mean, it wouldn't. It's like almost like a vacation to go out there and watch
Hmm.
the UConn women because you knew they was gonna win and you knew they was about to dominate and you knew they were gonna win a championship that year. Every year.
Let me tell you something. One of the best guards that I've ever seen play is Diana Taurasi. She is amazing.
Yeah,
Hands down. There's
legend.
nobody like that girl.
Yeah,
I there was one young sister who played for UConn who came close, and I can't remember her name in the moment. But I've seen Diana Taurasi take shots that most people couldn't even get close to, and stuff
yeah.
would
She's a
go in.
Hall of Famer. UConn Hall of Famer, College Hall of Famer,
Absolutely.
and
UConn Hall of
WNBA
Fame.
Hall of Famer. And she
Hmm.
a multiple winning championship in both college, high school,
And
and
Sue Bird as
WNBA.
well. Sue Bird as well. Sue Bird
Oh God,
is
Sue Bird got
also
like six
amazing.
championships.
Yep.
She was
They're
a
amazing.
true punch. She's like John Stockton. If you want to look
Yeah.
compare her to someone on the NBA side, John Stockton. She was like, she's gonna give you what she when she score, she's gonna be accurate in scoring. Like she can give you 20. She might give you
Yeah.
15, but she can give you 20. She's like, all right, I'm gonna
Right.
give you 15, but I'm gonna give you 10 assists and I'm gonna get like 4 steals. I'm gonna make more of an impact over overall game than just trying to score. And
Right.
I'll make everybody around me better. That same thing John Stockton did. He was like, yeah. So yeah, and you
Yeah.
could compare Diana. You know, Diana's like legendary. She's legendary. She's right
She's
there with
amazing.
yeah.
She's
She can go.
amazing. To watch her play is pure joy. When you want to experience pure joy in
Yeah, she
watching the women's game, there were two other people for me, Cheryl Swoops and
oh
Cynthia Cooper.
yeah.
You know, Cynthia Cooper was also amazing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So when you start to talk about WNBA now you can lean back and talk a little about history because you can go back to Lisa Leslie,
Oh,
you can
Shamika
go back
Holdsclaw.
to yeah, you
Holdsclaw,
know,
she was good. Like, oh my God, she was
True
now when I
Goals
see her,
Claw.
it was like, oh my God, she was like,
But now
and
you
I don't
got
think she really got the opportunity to do the WNBA like that.
yeah,
I think she had some
yeah,
issues with something that going into because WNBA was just starting. I think she went into
right.
WNBA for like a couple years and really didn't get her stamp
And
because I
that's
think she had a
why
couple injuries.
yeah, and that's why you saw a lot of female players start to go overseas. But I think what happened with Brittany has people now looking at the WNBA as something that really should be supported.
Yeah, and they need to
That's
bring
the other
it up.
side of it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the salaries need to go up, one, and they need to support. People need to show up to these games,
Yeah.
and they need to bring one back to Charlotte. Like they need to actually bring the Charlotte
Yeah.
team
I,
back.
I thought that they took the Charlotte team, right?
Yeah, they
WNBA
took
team.
Charlotte Sting. I used to go to them games.
Right.
Don played for them. Don Staley. She played for Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her going to the game to see her. I used to go watch the Hornets game. Then you watch the Sting. You come
Mm-hmm.
back and watch the Sting game later. And the WNBA actually played back then. Some of the WNBA seasons ran the same as the
As
NBA.
the right. Right.
People don't remember
Yep.
that, but yeah, they used to run like
Yep.
back-to-back games. Like you watch a Hornets game, then you watch a Sting game, or you watch a Sting game first. Then later on that evening, you buy a ticket. You buy a double ticket. You go watch the Hornets game, regular season.
Right. Right.
For the new loaded nacho cheeseburger.
Sorry, I got caught with an ad because I'm looking at Deion Sanders. So let's talk about it.
Okay,
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about prime time
prime time.
and what he has done.
Shout out to prime time. I love prime time. Like, but they not gonna win no more than 5 games. I told my homeboy that they not gonna win no more than 5.
Hey, you
I'm a believer.
about to get us. You about to get our black cards taken away.
I'm being for real. I mean, he even said it. Prime said it. Prime said we are players away from the offensive line, defensive line. We're not gonna get there this year. He know it. He got to beef up that offense and that defensive line,
Mm-hmm.
and he know you better get them now. So this year, you better get him this year. I say he'll win. I told my homeboy 6 games. I see 6
Mm-hmm.
games. Now Prime win 7 or 8 and get to the bowl game. Oh my God, that's like legendary for a team that went 1-11 the year before. So if they win 5 games, that's like a classic. I mean, this team, remember, these are all new players. All these players.
That's what I was gonna say. They're all new players, and they've
it's
got
only
to
5
learn each other. Yeah,
left from last
they've
year.
got to learn each other.
Yeah, it's a 5-star recruit right now, corner, that Prime said, hey, if you don't want to get out here and learn the system, be on the field, and be part of this, you don't play. That's his mentality. Like, you don't do what you gotta do, you're not playing. You're not playing for me. He's a 5-star
Well,
recruit. They got a 5-star corner right now sitting.
hmm. Well, I'm not surprised. Primarily because if you think about, and I always go back to this, but The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, the very end of one of the episodes, he starts crying
Right.
because he says, if you can't play at the level that I need you to play, then you don't need to be here.
Right.
And he was in tears when he said it. Because that's how deep and ingrained that excellence for winning is with him. And to his credit, I think that's the same thing with Dion. There's a lot of showmanship, but there's also a lot of talent.
Right.
And he is
I think he's
someone
a good
who,
coach.
yeah, he not only, but as an athlete.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
think about
he's
him
one of the
as an
best.
athlete,
He's one of the best to
you
ever
know,
do it.
him, Bo Jackson,
Yeah, they one of
I
the best to
guess
ever do it.
I think Michael Jordan was an okay baseball player. I don't know if he would have made the leagues if he were not Michael Jordan,
Right.
you know. But he brought something to the team, and for a minute they were winning.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's got to be, you cannot deny that Deion Sanders has bought something to Colorado that they desperately needed. That was number one.
Money.
Number two, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he brought a lot of money to Colorado. A lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
number three, it will be interesting to see how long he stays at Colorado. Who else is going to flash something in his face before he says, all right, okay, I'm out?
Yeah, and like I said, it will have to be one of them things that I think he want to build this program up. I think he actually want to win a championship with this team, with this program, because his athletic director took a chance on him. Like, hey, I believe in you, and like you said, he gave him an opportunity to coach at a Power 5. Like, the coach at a Power 5, it's only 14 coaches right now in NCAA right now that's coaching, and out of the 14, I think it's only like 5 or 6 that's coaching in a Power 5 university, head coaching.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if Deion win a championship in Colorado, which historically don't win a lot of championships, they won the championships in the past.
Right, they have.
He just had to basically come to the knowledge of the bigger schools, like some of these older coaches that's out right now, Alabama. They talk about Alabama,
Right.
talking about Clemson,
Right.
they talking about Texas A&M, they talking about some of these
Right.
schools that
South
even
Carolina.
Florida. They talking Florida Gators and
Clemson.
Alabama, Clemson. They talking Alabama. They're like, these schools are going to be looking for coaches in the next couple of years. But I don't think he gonna really want to leave Colorado probably till another 3 years, because he want to win a championship. And I think both his sons are probably gonna be there for another year to help him. And I think he'll be good. I think he'll win a championship.
So you think he's leaving? You think he's leaving in a year? Once he gets the championship?
I give him about 2 more years. Yeah. And then the bigger schools will come at him. That's a Power 5. That's how they normally work. 3 years, you don't finish your contract. You leave Colorado, you go to Florida State. You go to Alabama, you go to Clemson. These are bigger Power 5 universities.
Bigger
Texas
program.
A&M.
Well, let me ask you this.
Auburn.
Do you think this is his get back at Florida State for not choosing him as a coach?
But he can't really be getting back at Florida State right now, top 5 in the country.
But there was a time, was it Florida or Florida State, where they had an opening?
He went to school at Florida State.
It was Florida State, right? Yep. They had an opening, and they kind of brushed him aside. And that's
But
where he ended up going to Jackson State.
yeah, but you also got to look at what now Florida State was doing bad. It'll be like, oh, get back. But Florida State is top 5. And
so you're saying that doesn't make a difference?
It doesn't make a difference. Like Florida State right now is going to probably be competing against maybe in the top 4 for the championship this year. And one of the big.
But what I'm saying is Dion saying to them, this is what you missed, or this is what you could have had. But on the other hand, you're right. They don't necessarily need him.
Yeah,
they don't need a Deion
Sanders.
Sanders.
Like, okay, you bringing a lot of money to Colorado. You would have brought a lot more money to Florida State, but a lot of these schools are looking at tradition. A lot of schools looking at the stuff that they've been doing for the last 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not looking at because like I said, Deion's a new coach. He's a newer coach compared to some of these coaches that have been around and that
and are established.
They call them recycled coaches. They keep recycling these same coaches in that same umbrella. And that doesn't mean they're African American or Caucasians.
Right, it doesn't matter.
Traditional programs.
They want the seasoned.
Yeah, they want that person that's been around 20 years coaching.
Right.
And, that's why you see a lot of these coaches come back from, oh, he got fired over here, but he ended up getting the same job. It's almost like CEOs of major corporate. They call them Fortune 50 companies. A Fortune 50 company, when you got a Fortune 50 company, if you get fired, you're going to get another job in a Fortune 50 company. That's the way it works. That's the same way it works for CEOs. Like me, if I were just to get a new job as the CEO of Disney, for example, okay, I get 1 minute. Job at Disney. I get that one chance. They get rid of me. I'm done. I'll never see another job, period, because I'm new. I'm not new. I'm not fancy to that program. I haven't been around that long. So, but once you enter into that field, now you get more opportunity if you do good. And Deion's gonna get a lot more opportunity. So I say about 3 years he'll probably be at another school in about 3 years. He might not. He said God called him to Colorado. So hey, they're gonna win a championship.
We will see. We need to really do a show on Deion anyway, so I can get my opinion out into the ether. So I can have to be threatened to take my black card.
How many games you think?
Oh! Are we in week 4, Doc? Let us get this in real quick. Who's your pick next Sunday?
What for? Which one?
Shoot.
Seattle every week.
Is it Seattle? All right, we'll let you go with Seattle because we got to wrap up.
Right.
But next time we talk, we're gonna have to look at the NBA, see who's on board, who's not, and why.
Yeah, remember Dame Dollars is now with Milwaukee Bucks. Dame Dollars with Milwaukee.
Yes. That was the breaking news before the Michigan State breaking news.
Yeah, Dame Dollars is now with Milwaukee.
You got another edition of the Sports Lab on the Collective with me and ANTMAN. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Thanks to Doc P, the great Doc P, for not only co-hosting in a way, but putting the graphics together as well.
Doc P in the building.
Yes. This has been the Collective, the Sports Edition, the Sports Lab on WSMEDB Enlightenment Radio. Have a good one, everybody.
Good night.